just, you know, what do you do, you know? We left. I can't really remember.
I don't even know what we did.
We came home.
Just in such shock, you just can't believe.
We came home and, yeah, we were in the house here and...
I just tried to tell her maybe she could be one of those miracle cases.
Yeah, you know, Taylor would bring it up, you know, from that day on. You know, her and I'd sit here and, so what do you think, Dad? I said, hey, you know, you gotta believe in a miracle.
Yep.
But, yeah.
I got to her house, and it's like as I knew, she opened the door, and it was like she became this puddle of tears, and she said, it didn't work. And I said, what do you mean it didn't work? She said, my cancer's back. Or it never went away, or something. And, yeah, we cried. Taylor had the experience of knowing that before the news, she knew. I really do think. And so, I think that the news was delivered fine, because how else do you deliver that? But I think the fallout after was not okay.
Well, for me, I just didn't want to believe this was the end. I just didn't want to believe that. So it was, you know, when they're talking palliative care and all this, it was like, no, I just couldn't even get past that. I could not even get past that. I think there was some, I don't really remember. I remember lots of paperwork being handed to me, but I mean, the last thing in the world I was going to do was read paperwork. I remember some stuff on, I guess, supportive services, but I mean, it's not the same thing as if somebody physically came and saw you. You know what I mean? Like, as I said, Lori did the best she could do, and she was wonderful.
Yeah, well, we felt that, you know, okay, yes, they were all there for us when they told us the news, but yeah, basically once we left, I mean, yeah, unless there was a medical or issue, we didn't really hear from them. And
yeah, I think that was the hardest. I think we almost felt abandoned. You know, even when we came in on those final days, we felt that nobody, well, obviously nobody wanted to come in, you know, and do the treatments, even the nurses. It was not, I'm not talking about our friends, I'm just talking about the staff. It's, I mean, they've seen this before, they obviously know, but I think because they do, it would be nice if they knew how, you know, how the others suffer, let alone the patient.
yeah. Well, as we say, I mean, they told us we're in shock, we go home, and it takes a day or two to go, okay, wow, so maybe you give a family a couple of days, and then make a call and say, hey, we'd like to come over and see you. You know, that, I'm just our experience, if someone would have phoned me like that and said, you know, we know what you're going through, we'd love to, if you didn't mind, we'd love to come over and have a chat with you and see where we can help you out.
It's that personal touch that you so desperately need. You're past the the treatment and all that. The last thing you want to do is, come on, honey, we're going to go and get some support now. We got to go back to the hospital. That's the last place you wanted to be right now.
To go talk to somebody.
Yeah, it'd be nice if somebody just came by and had
if it's
tea and talked.
I just felt like after she got given that news, people were afraid, including the nurses that she knew. And afraid to be like, well, other than how are you doing today? You know, that question that we always ask people, like, how are you really doing? You know, you were given this really scary news about your mortality, but how are you really doing? And I just don't think anybody ever readdressed it with her, which to me is weird. But we're only human, right? And we don't want to really talk about those uncomfortable things. So,
yes, we are physicians and we've dealt with bad situations all the time, but we're still human. We have our own feelings. We have to acknowledge those feelings. And one of the ways to do that is to debrief and talk with somebody, whether that's a colleague or whether that's the nurse that's been taking care of the patient with you, so that you can kind of commiserate together. These are people that have lives that have very interesting things about them that are not related to the cancer whatsoever. And I think it makes you remember those patients more when they've passed on. I think it's important to remember them as people and not just a disease.
And and then like I say, the nurses, everyone we dealt with.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we spent
fantastic.
a lot of time on the 5th floor, and everyone we dealt with, they're fantastic, unbelievable. They help me a lot as well as Jacqueline. But once again, they're professionals, so you can't get buddy with your patients when we understand that. Where maybe someone could, I don't know, someone could